Everybody, John's nervous for doing the podcast. You listen to NPR, so we'll do it NPR style. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Movie Boarding Podcast, the podcast where Not that it matters because we can't see it, but your fly's open.
True. I vouch for you. This bar can taste on the line.
Pure Pippin form.
Yeah, he's ward of the family now after almost 30 years. YOLO. All right, so I'm just gonna do my little thing, and then we'll get going. And then I need to turn on the backup recording because you just need to always have a backup. Hey, everybody! No, I'm not gonna do that. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Movie Boarding, the movie podcast. The podcast has been called the Guantanamo Bay of Podcasts, and I've said podcast about 6 times now. Podcast, and I take my friends and family, and we watch movies that they've never seen before. So it might be cult classics, wonderfully weird movies, or just terrible movies.
Oh, I hope it's a ballad.
I hope it's a rom-com. The podcast called number 1 podcast in the world by my mom. So thank you, Mom, for that one review.
Shout out.
Shout out, Tess. And today I have a special guest with me. You already heard his voice, but this man joining us today is responsible for me having 3 rooms in one house all to myself. He has been voted the best beard by Beard Quarterly, a magazine I just made up. And please welcome my brother-in-law, Jonathan, to the podcast.
Hello,
Everybody, you can't hear it, but look. I have a button. That has
Oh,
that.
applause?
Yeah, applause.
Nice.
It might be booze. Who knows? What's up, Johnny?
Welcome, podcast family.
Welcome. So Brenna was telling me that you've been wanting to be on a podcast for a long time.
Lies, lies, lies.
You were like, oh my gosh, I want to be on the Martha Stewart cooking podcast.
Is that a real podcast? No. Yes and no. She's been doing it for a while now, and I'm like,
What is
an
that?
invite would have been nice, but I mean, there's no bitterness here. Bitter, party of one, bitter. No, I'm happy to be here and excited, and also very nervous because I have no idea what movie you would have picked for me.
So at this point in the podcast, the person would have already somewhat known what they were going to watch because I would send them like a list of movies. And they're like, okay, I haven't seen this one, and I just pick. So they would have kind of like
Context,
or at least like, 30% chance of knowing what they were watching. But truth be told, I asked your wife if you had seen this.
so
My
I'm,
sister.
I'm getting like the full movie boarding experience.
Full movie boarding experience. And then also, too, in the podcast, at this point, they would know what movie they're going to watch.
Ah.
You are not.
Oh.
You are going to know what we're watching when we start watching
So
it.
this is a podcast first.
This is a podcast first. We're deviating from the path like we always do. Yeah, this is a podcast first. I know that you haven't seen this movie because Brenda told me that you haven't seen
Does
this
she
movie.
know me that well?
I would hope so after 20 plus years that she would. And the reason I chose this movie because I was like, oh, I know that he hasn't seen this movie. Because it's a very niche movie. It's not the most popular movie. So much so that a lot of the movies that we saw, like when we did Runaway or like what's another, Max and Mary, I could easily find it on streaming. This movie, you couldn't find it on any streaming platform.
Well, you have to remember my bio. I didn't grow up with cable, so that's very easy. You could have literally picked any popular movie of the 80s or 90s, and I'd be like, what's that?
So like, I don't know if I left it in the podcast, the second one that we did with Brenda on Dr. Strangelove, but we were like, you didn't really see Star Wars until like you started dating Brenda or like around that time.
Sounds
I mean,
about
you
right.
knew about it.
I'm trying to think, like, search my youngest memories, and the only sci-fi-ish movie I remember being taken to the theaters to go see was E.T., but I was like 5, and I don't remember the
That
movie.
movie came out, what, 84?
8:45. Yeah. So I don't remember any, like,
Were you scared?
I don't remember the movie. I probably fell asleep as a kid. I was just excited that it wasn't staying at home.
Yeah.
And all my movie background as a kid were what my dad liked watching, which were westerns.
Do you remember any of those Westerns?
I remember a very funny story.
Okay, go for it.
Que en paz descanse, papi.
R.I.P. Senior.
R.I.P. So I remember being a very precocious young man and knowing that we could never go see movies I wanted to go see. So he got together a group of friends, and they wanted to go see Unforgiven,
Okay.
Clint Eastwood movie, I think.
Clint Eastwood. I want to say Gene Hackman.
Yeah, I think so. But
Yeah.
I remember I was like, wait a minute, that's rated R. You can't see that movie. And I made a scene about it in front of everyone.
Wow.
Man, I got in so much trouble.
Your dad is letting you watch a rated R movie, and then you're like, "No, Dad, no."
And I was like, if I can't see what I want, then you shouldn't be able to see what you want.
That's pretty funny.
And
Did they see the movie?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they might have seen a part of it because they didn't have all the ways to check movies
Yeah,
like they
to
do
see-
now.
yeah.
You just kind of went and you're like, oh, this isn't good. So I'm pretty sure it walked out, but I was just still probably sore from the behind area that I didn't
From the
really
spanking?
I didn't pay attention to the rest of the movie. But yeah, those are good memories.
Unforgiven. Yeah, that I would say I'm not really into westerns. I don't remember seeing any, honestly.
John Wayne was like
John
a
Wayne is a
common character in our
I think
house.
the westerns I've seen are like the modern ones, which is like 310 to Yuma, Magnificent Seven, like the remake, and then probably like Aliens versus Cowboys.
Yeah, I don't think that one counts as
True
a
Grit. Oh,
cowboy.
True Grit. I saw True Grit. But other than westerns, I know we were talking about this earlier, and I used to make fun of you, but not anymore because it's like super common. What is your favorite genre of movie?
Should I say?
Yeah, dude.
I feel judged already, but I'll just say it. Rom-coms, also known as romantic comedies. I'm a sucker for a good rom-com.
And the reason I say that is because I was telling you there's a couple of bros in my congregation that they say, "Oh, I love rom-coms," and I'm like, "What?" And then Checo said he liked rom-coms, and then I have another cousin who likes rom-coms, and so I'm just like, "Oh, maybe I'm the odd man out now."
Well, I have to do it because it's a equalization, right? So my dear wife, her favorite genre movies are like the worst. It's like foreign films that have tragic endings that
Oh,
have
yeah.
no closure. It's like you watch the movie and you're like, okay, you're invested in the movie. You're like, I have to read the whole movie because it's all subtitles. And then at the very end, you're like, okay, but there'll be what's the French word? Detriment, or like
A
the
resolution.
climax to the resolution.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute, that makes no sense. What happens next?
And then
it's
just roll credits.
yes. And then even if you go online and you're trying to do research, like, what did that mean or what could have happened? Like, nope, nothing.
The director leaves it up to interpretation.
Hate that.
Use your imagination, man.
No, that's terrible. That's not what you pay movies. That's what you pay for. You pay for a happy ending. Wait, that sounded weird.
Hey, you pay for a resolution.
Yes, you pay for resolution.
I was gonna say something. Nope, never mind.
You were gonna say you pay for a climax.
I was gonna say you pay for a release.
Yes.
You pay for closure. You pay
Yes.
for
Life is bad enough.
You pay for that
want
fantasy
to
that,
walk
like,
away from a movie
happy.
feeling like, actually, that's awesome. That the protagonist was able to overcome all potential hardships and be victorious, which that makes sense why my favorite movie is my favorite
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
So
one of the movies that you said was like that is Rudy.
yes,
That's your all-time. That's one of your
that's not a
all-time.
rom-com, but I guess my second favorite genre would be like sports classics
Okay.
and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So Rudy.
The only thing I can think of when people say Rudy is that episode of is this The Simpsons when they're going to the Super Bowl and they're leaving in the bus and then you just hear somebody go, "Hey, wait," and they're like, "Oh, it's that Dan kid Rudy,"
Rudy Rudiger.
which
Oh.
I've never seen that movie actually. I know about it.
All right, you need to be movie boarded on that one.
Oh, God.
That is what I want to be the co-host for that one. Let me be in the driver's seat for that one.
Okay.
And then we'll grill you.
I
on
know
that.
like the story basically, but not so much what's going
But
on.
you're missing all the minutia. You're missing out all those emotional feels. Ugh, I can't believe I said that. I hate that word.
Emotional
Feels. That is.
It got you in the field. Did
that's,
you want to
Bree's
be like a
influence.
Notre Dame running back or whatever he was?
I mean, it makes you. It was the high time of Notre Dame pride back in the late 70s, early 80s. It's ba da ba ba da ba da. Like you saw
For
that movie,
all the stuff for the Catholic Church.
and then, but yeah, I'm still gonna always bleed burnt orange. But it was just a good.
Guys, this is a guy who is a UT fan and went to UTSA, and he's talking about
I would
Notre
have
Dame.
graduated from UT, but I wanted to make sure my marriage stayed intact. So yeah, senior year was gonna transfer to UT Austin, but then my wife was like, "No, Scott, we're not gonna have you.
I would've
We're not gonna
just-
commute.
I would've
an
just
hour
done that, bro.
just for your senior year." So
How many
that-
classes were you like that serious? Like that's legit?
you can transfer like your last semester.
No,
as a
but then
junior.
you were actually going to do that? Or
we
you
had
thinking about
talked about it, but it was like it wasn't gonna happen. But it would have been cool
it? You would have like had
because
so
it's
much
always
debt,
like,
bro.
"Oh, where did you go to school?" UT, SA.
Go running, go birds.
Go Birds.
Go birds.
And now they actually because they didn't have a football team back then. They didn't have a real sports program. Now they do.
You can be there. You could be UTSA's version of Matthew McConaughey. You know what I mean? Like their guy. You be like, all right,
All right, all right.
Look at all these road runners out here.
I gotta do
Looks
something.
like we got a lot of lawbreakers.
I gotta do something with the beard. That's gotta be a beard saying or something.
Yeah, because I don't think he has a beard.
Mm-mm.
And you got to stop wearing deodorant.
And it would have to be something Tex-Mex or something Spanglish.
Something Tejano.
like
Something puro sananto.
it'd be like it's gonna be more like the UTSA.
Nah,
Hey
dude.
baby, ¿qué pasó?
Yeah, that'd be your.
That
that'd
would be
your
like
ver-
a
Yeah,
theme
that'd be your
song
version.
for
Hey
UTSA.
baby, ¿qué pasó? Yeah, that's the jam down here in San Antonio. No, shout out to Norm Oil Gym or whatever it was called. That's a very niche a niche comment for those
Yep.
people there from San Antonio. Alrighty then, bro. So let me break. I'm just gonna give you the synopsis of the movie without telling you what it is.
Okay.
Let me find it here. So, get ready to strap in. And maybe stop licking my toes. The dog's licking my toes. All right. So a group of friends, they're artists, and possibly musicians, gather up for a major televised performance, and they navigate through the busy streets of London as they face a series of comedic events and unexpected
Oh, I already know where you're going with this.
expected situations involving enthusiastic fans, the demanding managers, and the occasional pursuit of the relentless reporters.
Or maybe can I take a wild guess before?
And the friends manage to slip away from their responsibilities, and they have and then hilarity ensues, antics and stuff like that. And the group jungles their hectic schedule, performances, and personal challenges as they must pull together to make
It's
it
a
on.
hard day's night. Is that what we're gonna watch?
Yeah, possibly.
Is
I
that
don't
the
know.
right title? I just sang a Beatles song.
You just sang a Beatles song. We might have to mute that because I don't want EMI or Apple Music to come after me. I know that Beyond the Grave, Steve Jobs is pretty. Yeah. So, I mean, the premise is pretty straightforward. And like I said, this is not a popular movie. I had to find it, and I had to order a DVD, which took like 3 days to. I think it came from China. Yeah.
So we might watch the Chinese version of this.
You might have to try. So,
Good thing Bree's here to translate. What?
What? All right. So, yeah, bro. Are you ready to take this ticket to ride to watch this movie?
Wow. How do you know I have not seen this movie, Bree? That's a big risk.
I know everything about your life.
Yeah.
And if I would be like a total like shocker if I told you I have seen this movie.
You know, the thing is that you have a terrible memory. So it's possible you'll think you have watched this movie. I know you have not.
Well, truth be told, you're right. I haven't seen this movie, and if I would have,
Well, you don't even know the movie yet. Or do you?
We just
We
said-
don't know.
We just said it was Ticket to Ride.
No, we never said
I
anything.
don't know if I said, are you
Did
ready
we?
to take this ticket to ride?
He said, "Are you ready to take this ticket to ride?"
Okay, what?
Look,
The
I've
answer is
given you
yes.
I've given you everything, all the information you need to know
Okay.
to watch this movie. And yeah, dude. Let's get saucy. Let's get spicy. Let's watch this movie.
I'm so scared right now.
Let's do this. All right, guys. We're gonna watch this movie, and we'll be right back. And me and John are gonna become one with this movie. When two become one. All right. Let's do this.
In the 90s world. I know about these absolute gems of songs. Yes.
Baby ginger posh, sporty, yes, now that's the lot. With the spice
I'm surprised I still remember these songs, dude.
Now I don't know what to do with this DVD. I paid $20.
So we are back after watching that movie. And John, would you like to tell everybody what absolute classic we made you watch?
I was fooled. I was tricked. I
We
was
never said
deceived.
we never said it
Everyone led
was
me to
hard.
believe it was to be a Beatles movie, which I was like actually really excited to see. I was like, sweet. I love the Beatles. I actually haven't seen much of their film career. That was not the British invasion I was led to believe to see it.
Come to the West, spice up your life, everybody, every girl. It was a British invasion. There was artists from Liverpool. They were trying to get to a show and fighting paparazzi. I did not lie, John.
You
not
did
one.
not.
No lies were said.
I was just I went down the wrong rabbit hole. But I will say this: I understood two important things. I learned why this is such an appropriate title for your podcast, Movie Boarding.
You got movie boarded.
Is exactly what happened to me. That was, I think I would have preferred a regular waterboarding session than that. Like, put the towel on my face, pour gallons of water, because it was that bad. It was
Look,
that bad.
Your wife was the one that took me to watch this movie. So it's actually kind of her fault too.
Okay, I was trying to describe like how bad this movie was. And I was like, how can I describe it so that no one else has to endure the pain that I just went through? And I think the best way to do it is to use a movie quote from an actual awesome comedy. And it's from the great Billy Madison.
Okay.
All right. So this is what was said in that movie that I think you could apply to this movie, right?
Yeah.
It says, and I'm just going to change it up so it makes sense. What you just created, or what was just seen, is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever watched. At no point during its rambling, incoherent responses were they even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having watched it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. That's exactly how I feel right now.
God.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh. So, like I said, in case you guys didn't know, when I was a little kid, I was a big Spice Girls fan. It was kind of borderline weird, but when this movie came out, I saw it, and even as a kid, when I saw the movie, I was like, "This movie's terrible." It came out in '97. It was really bad, and I don't know if Brenda remembers that. So we went with somebody else, a friend of ours. And and he said that somebody that was behind him, these two guys were behind him watching the movie. And they legit said, "What are we doing here?" And then Josh, the guy, he turned around and he said, "I've been asking myself the same thing."
It was terrible. I think what was shocking more than that was they had all these actual actors and actresses.
Yes, they had famous actors. I always kept telling you, like, okay, so let's go right down the list. Alan Cummings. Famous actor, came out of that X-Men movies. Meatloaf, not only a singer but came out in like Fight Club, all these great movies. Elton John, Richard E. Grant, Norm from Cheers,
Yeah.
George Wendt, I think it was. A 007. There was a 007 in this movie. Roger Moore. Then Jonathan Ross, a famous British TV host. Mark McKinney, which you guys know him, I think he's from Kids in the Hall and also from Superstore. The manager, Stephen Fry. Apparently Bob Hopkins comes out in it, the guy from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I didn't see them. Hugh Laurie comes out in it, House himself, and Dominic West from Lost and from Lord of the Rings movie.
And then you also had Elvis Costello.
Elvis Costello was in the movie.
Yeah.
So all these amazing actors, and it's funny that none of their careers tanked.
Well, I was
after
just
watching
wondering,
this.
like, they all must have been. What was funny is they must have all been hurting for money at the same time.
Or they were contractually obligated or something to to do this.
I would have said like I'm done with my career.
So just we kind of went over the premise, and it's basically that, but also within there's a couple of subplots. So there's the subplot of Norm and Mark McKinney. They're movie producers from LA, and they're trying to make a movie about the Spice Girls, and the whole of their plot is they're just trying to pitch the movie, and then it's like crazy stuff. But then at the end, basically they pitch the movie that we watched.
Yeah.
And at the end, there's like a meta thing where they're like filming the movie, and they're like, then they're acting as themselves. Like
They broke the fourth wall.
they broke the fourth wall. So then the other subplot, which is I think actually it's really funny, is the tabloid, newspaper head.
Yeah.
He's trying to get like some saucy stuff on the Spice Girls,
He built them up and now he wants to tear them down.
tear them down. Okay, I will say for me though, those scenes were really funny. And then the creepy photographer, those were actually funny for me. I don't know if you felt the same way.
I don't know how to describe how I felt. It was cruel and unusual torture, I think is the term that people use. It was so bad. So bad. I mean, they were making bad jokes, but just it was bad. It was bad. And there's that point, like I think most people would agree. When people first watch Napoleon Dynamite for the first time,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, this is a bad movie, right? But then the more you watch it, you come to appreciate the comedic genius. This is not that movie.
The subtle stuff in the movie.
This was just bad. I think it was just a movie so they could release more songs.
When three become one.
And then just so that like, I don't know what possessed them. I guess that's striking when the iron is hot.
I've written here, this is a feminine masterpiece. So how dare you, Jonathan? How dare you?
I don't think women would like actually feel prideful in this movie. They'd be like, no, we could do better than this. Yeah, it was fun. It was a waste of an hour and a half, but it was time that I will never get back.
The first thing you said when they get on their tour bus, I never noticed that. The size of the tour bus is not actually what.
It's the size of a hotel. It's the size of a hotel, and yet they don't have working bathrooms.
They don't have working bathrooms. So I think not only that, but there was a couple other scenes, the alien scenes that like this world is not.
Nada que ver. Doesn't make sense, but it was awesome.
This world is not supposed to be like a real world. It's supposed to be a spice world.
Well,
you please.
I was like, how are they fluent in whatever alien language that was?
Yeah.
That, and then there was just so many cool. I say cool, not meaning cool. Cliche moments, like they're in the bus and then they had the mandatory girl pillow fight.
Yeah.
Right, and
They
then
had the training montage, with the dancing, and with the lead dancer was supposed to like he's doing it like very best like Monty Python impersonation.
Yep. You love the corny jokes, and there
I
was
do.
so many terrible corny jokes. The whole deja vu.
That was a funny joke, Jonathan.
was terrible. I wish they would have gone down more like the whole sporty Cogni route. You know, like
They're honestly trying to just copy Hard Day's Night. That's literally all they're doing. And I haven't seen Hard Day's Night in a long time, but I think this is basically it. That's all they're trying to do. I mean, because other than them, I think they were like, other than the Beatles, I think the Spice Girls were like the other British artists. They got like this whole mania like behind it, like Spice Mania, Spice World Mania.
So all the different little scenes, like they didn't make sense to me. They were just kind of thrown together. But is that just a copy from the Beatles movie?
Yeah, basically.
Like the photo shoot. Like
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
there just doing that photo shoot, and I was like,
They
huh?
also kind of have like a little bit of I think that like the party where they were like the release party and they were like eating all the finger foods and all that stuff. I think that's something from the Hard Day's Night. I know I think they actually are in a tour bus, or maybe not, but it's basically the same thing. They're running through the streets of London and trying to, live their lives and stuff like that. But it's a hyper version of what they are, and the Spice Girls are not good actors, especially. I'm sorry to say, but Posh Posh, she's the worst.
Oh, I don't know how you could deliver lines worse than she did. What was the story behind the sixth secret? Was that supposed to be like the secret beetle, or like that?
It was just, I guess,
Nicola.
Nicola. Yeah, it was just, so there was this character, Nicola. She was like their friend that was there before they were famous, and she was pregnant throughout the whole movie. I mean, and then she has a baby finally. But It's funny because that's the whole reason they got together or they came to be the Spice Girls. It was the same thing as like Backstreet Boys or NSYNC. It was just like music producer got these like put out a call for like girls
Oh,
with certain personality and put them together. So the flashback scene that they were in the coffee shop like
yeah.
trying to make it big. It's just I mean it's a false narrative.
I think the funny parts were like, what did you say this movie came out?
97.
97. So this came out before
It's 100% a time capsule.
so it's before Austin Powers came out.
I think it's around the same time.
So that dude, the James Bond character, he was actually the precursor to Austin Powers.
Yeah, so
Because
he was doing his best. Like
he was Miss Doctor Evil.
he was doing his Blofeld, like which is what Doctor Evil was based off of.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah, because his riddles were just like,
His-
huh,
When he
what?
said like hang your pants on the coat even if they're dirty, or
Dirty.
something. What was the one he said about the chick? So the Roger Moore plays the chief, which is like and Richard E. Grant plays their manager. Then I guess Roger Moore plays his character is the chief, which I think would be like their like the boss or like the record executive or
Yeah.
something like that. And he's just like he's basically playing a mixed version of James Bond because he's suave, but also a Blofeld because he's holding animals. Have you
Oh,
noticed that?
yeah,
But they change every time. So one was like a bunny, one then the last one was like a pig
there's
or something.
a cat, a
There's
little
a cat.
pig.
So then he speaks in riddles basically, and one of them was like you hang your pants on the. Sometimes you need to hang your pants on the coat even if it's dirty or they're dirty. Then he was like, be like the
headless-
chicken, be like the headless chicken who can see where he's going or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but it was so
Yeah,
dumb.
it was weird. But I mean, I saw that and I thought, oh, this is where Austin Powers got Doctor Evil from. Interesting.
Yeah. So he got that from Blofeld from James Bond, which is funny because I think that's the movie that he's in, is the Blofeld one.
Never seen it.
Where I think if I'm not in the comments in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the one where he throws Blofeld down a chimney stack.
Is that a British comedy or?
No, that's James Bond. That's a James Bond movie.
Oh, I don't remember
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one.
From back in the day, from like the 70s, 60s, 70s.
I thought it was funny that there was another reference that's current that they might have stole from this movie,
Okay.
which was they had the Spice Force 5. Spice Force 5.
That was one of the pitch that the guys wanted.
But I'm thinking, is that where Trump got Space Force?
Space Force, maybe. I've heard that Trump was a big Spice Girl fan.
Interesting. And then I thought it was funny on the boat scene when the driver has one job, literally just one job, drive the boat.
Drive the boat.
And he gets so distracted that he almost wrecks the boat. They all fall off and kids are drowning in the water. I was like, okay.
I would say for most of the movies that we've done, I've seen the movie beforehand again and like taking the notes. I didn't have time to do this one, but I did watch some behind the scenes, and I think they might actually have it on the DVD. We can watch it later. if you want.
No. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we can watch it now. I know how much you want to watch it. The Spice Girls are talking about this movie, and they're trying to be like, "Oh, this movie's like the best or whatever," but they're just explaining what's happening in the movie. They're like, "Oh, like there's this one scene where Alan Cumming he falls off a boat and he falls in the water, and everybody's like, oh my god, he fell in the water." Like that's literally what the whole behind the scenes is, and I'm like, I don't know if you've seen the clip. It's kind of a meme now. Freddie Prinze Jr. talking about Scooby Doo when he did like the Scooby Doo movie, like the live action. So it's like Sarah Michelle Gellar. Then I forgot what Shaggy's name is, but they're all like, yeah. So in this movie, like my character is like, they're all trying to be like, it's a they're trying to make it more than what it is.
Uh-huh.
And then they cut to Freddie Prinze Jr. and he's like, yeah, it's a talking dog. And that's kind of how I felt with this movie. It's like they're trying to make it more than what it is, and I'm like, yeah, it's just like it's crap.
I thought it was funny that there was I guess toward the end of the movie they're doing that song at the cafe that made them
Wanna
that
be?
was like their like one of the top songs,
Yes.
right?
First of all, how dare you? say
Okay,
that?
so there's a line there's one of the lyrics because in that part of the movie I was like, how much more do I have to endure?
Dude, there was still 30
right?
minutes after that.
So one of the lyrics on the song says, "Don't go wasting my precious time." And I was like, that is the best line of that whole song because that's how I felt when I was watching the movie. And then, this kind of irked me. So they're in the court because they're
Yeah.
afraid that they're gonna be I guess, terrible in the future or something.
Oh yeah, so there's a lot of flash forwards and flashbacks in this movie.
Right. So they're before the judge.
Oh, that's a flash. Yeah.
Flash forward.
Oh, the judge was Stephen Fry, by the way, guys. Britain's own Stephen Fry.
And then they're being told like how they're gonna be the worst on the charts, and
Yeah.
that they're gonna have to go to some third-rate show in Taiwan. But then this is a total dig. After they have that flash forward, they're like, okay, next case, call in Hootie and the Blowfish. I was like, how dare they? How dare they? Hootie and the Blowfish are an institution. They're the greatest. And then
Put some respect on Hootie.
yeah, and then they're gonna dig on them. Wow.
Well, you know what's funny? Like, okay, if you think about it, in the '90s, they were like looked at like how people look at now, like Creed or like Imagine Dragons and stuff like that. But I would say honestly, I would say more than anything, I think Darius Rucker got them out of that, like when he did his solo career. But it's funny you were talking about the charts. So, Jonathan, they have sold over 60 million records. Okay, they've gone platinum twice in the U.S., 7 in the U.K. No, I'm sorry. 10 times platinum in the UK, 7 in the US, and 2 times platinum in Australia. Okay, bro. They charted the top of the pops charts in 37 countries. Jonathan, you put some respect on the
Okay.
Spice Girls name. Okay,
All that proves is
girl power.
that there's a lot of people that have bad taste. That's all that proves. That is the height of pop culture. Don't get me wrong; they were great at PR. They matched.
I mean, that's
their
all it was,
public
dude. That's all it
relations.
was. Just like NSYNC and
Yeah,
other,
they were in the height of
just
the
PR.
boy band. They needed to have, and then
a girl
they-
band. Yeah,
a girl band, and so they had snazzy outfits and catchy songs, and more power to them, I guess, for that capturing that moment in time. I do have a few questions that maybe you can answer.
Oh, okay.
post-
yeah. Lay 'em on me.
Okay, so I noted one little snippet. So that sixth Spice Girl that was
Yes.
pregnant, how come her baby wasn't Asian?
Yeah, she was Asian, and then her baby was completely
Completely not Asian.
white. Not white. I mean, even if her husband was British, like Anglo, they would have, or her boyfriend,
Yeah.
which was Trevor. No, because
Yes.
remember he left her. He left
Yes.
her. He would have at least been a little
So
Asian.
that was a little faux pas on their.
What
ends.
about the Italian stereotypes?
Oh yeah,
That was pretty messed up.
I could have gone my whole life without seeing
Italian butts, male butts.
buttless chaps.
yeah, buttless chaps.
Yeah.
Also another stereotype, the only other black character besides Mel B.
Is
her name
Mel
was-
B because she was black?
Ah,
Is that why
maybe.
it's Mel B?
I think it's her last name. I think it's their last names.
Okay.
Yeah, Mel C. I'll look it up. But the only other black person in this movie, and their name was Gladys. So that's
I thought the
nurse.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there was also the camera. one of
camera
the
guy.
camera guy. Okay,
Operators.
My bad. My bad. I'm about to get canceled.
The thing that I think they spent the most money on out of all of the whole movie was the usage of one of the greatest theme songs of all times, and they ruined it, which was the theme song to the Rocky movies when they're going up the stairs to Albert Hall. Like, why would you tarnish
They
such
played
a
in
beautiful,
Albert Hall, guys.
a beautiful song like that?
That's
They
like
ruined it.
like Justin Bieber played Carnegie Hall or something, or not even Justin Bieber, somebody worse. Like I can't think of anything worse. But
P. Diddy.
oh wow, very apropos the current times.
And then the last question I had:
Yeah,
what are bacon buddies?
I looked that up. It's a bacon sandwich, and it's made with I think like burnt butter.
Huh.
I mean, British food is not the best. Bacon buddies. It's a bacon sandwich. It's served with the spread or butter and seasoned with ketchup or a brown sauce. What is it with Brits and brown sauce? They put it on their chips. They put it on their. Oh my god, British food. Step it up.
And
So
then,
I don't trust.
and then we
Gordon
had
Ramsay.
to switch over because they said, "Oh, don't forget to bring the crisps." So that's their word for chips. And
Yeah.
then they say chips, they mean fries.
Yeah. I do. Will say. She said, "Oh," and then you go to a chippy, which is like a chip shop. I do like the fish and chips. I do. That's the one thing. But I mean, kind of like the United. But see, you know what's funny? I was thinking about this. So when people say like, "Oh, American food is not good," you're like, "How?" Like, we got like Tex-Mex, we got barbecue, we got Cajun food, and they're like, "Oh, that's all from somebody else." But I'm like, no, like we made it our own kind of thing, right? But then Brits are like,
I feel when you just said that right now, you need to put a little background that goes America.
America 2024. Then the Brits do the same argument. They're like, oh, we have amazing Indian food, we have amazing like Arabic food, and I'm like, you just took that from somebody else. And it's kind of the same argument that the United States makes, but for some reason I feel it's better for the States than it is for the I don't know if it's just because I'm biased, but
100. I mean,
they do have good beer.
Just look at the waistlines of the States.
That's
and
true.
We prove it. We back it up.
Yeah, we back it up with our food. Home of the free, land of the Whopper. So let's see. There's a couple other points I wanted to make in this movie. So like we mentioned, they have like really good actors like Alan Cumming, Richard E. Grant. Those are the main ones. Roger Moore, and they are leaps and beyonds. Like it's funny to see like these actors that are like classically trained or have come out on stage plays, movies there, and then you just see like the performances of the Spice Girls. It's like, I don't know, like you have this Ferrari and then you put like a Honda engine in it or something.
I just don't understand like what the attraction was.
And
how
then-
did they even pull them?
And
into
then
the
towards
movie?
the end where they're like the behind
clips,
the clips or whatever, or the
credits,
the
yeah.
credits. So at that point they're doing this meta version of like they're actually filming the movie. And there's a little part where Richard E. Grant's on the phone and he's like, they want me to play this manager. I hope it doesn't tank my career. And I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure that was an actual thing that he was thinking of. Okay, going back to just a little bit to the pregnant lady,
Mhm.
Nicola. They're like, oh, she's dilated. And then they try to make a joke of like, well, she's only had a gin and orange. And I'm like, wait, did the pregnant lady drink alcohol?
Oh no! Instead of having a gin and tonic, she just had gin.
But gin is still alcohol.
gin orange. I didn't even catch that.
Like no wonder maybe that's why the baby didn't come out Asian. It had like fetal alcohol syndrome or something.
That was funny. Yeah, they took her to that dance club.
They took a pregnant woman to the dance club, and that scene is like the most 90s thing I've ever seen in my entire life. The fits were just 90s, like through and through. Bell bottoms, low cut shirts, the platform heels, which I'm sure Brenda used to wear. Oh, so the song that they were singing that you were asking about, the I'm the leader, whatever it was.
Yeah,
That's a cover from Gary Glitter,
again,
another canceled person.
above my. The oldie song was cool. The one that was on the boat, that was okay. That
Was it like
okay.
Lollipop or something? Like
Yeah, it
that?
was probably like from the 50s or 60s.
Oh my god. Anything else you want to say about this movie, Jonathan? I mean, we've
I
been
don't know
talking
how
about this
people-
for 20 minutes
I
already.
don't know how people actually paid cash money to go see this in person.
If the Spice Girls would have gone to San Antonio, come here to San Antonio. By the way, I'm recording this in San Antonio because I wanted to do this in person. And I recorded Jonathan's reaction. Me and Brenda recorded it. So, okay, but first, if they would have been here in San Antonio, I would have gone and seen them. 100%, I would have
it would
gone.
have been a show of one. You would have had
How dare you, sir?
or whoever dropped you off. a
Oh,
show of two.
Brenda would have had to gone with me. Had to go with me because no way my dad would have gone.
Wow.
But Maggie knew, Brenda knew. I think Chelsea knew what I was gonna. And I think Ricky Tess knew what I was gonna do. But you had no
It
clue.
was.
Like you legit.
I thought you loved me more than that. I
You
guess.
legit thought you were gonna watch A Hard Day's Night when
I thought it was a Beatles movie. Yeah, I was like, okay, this will be worth the time.
at the end. I don't know if you guys listening could notice, but I said stuff that was like about the Spice Girls. I said like let's get spicy or something like that, and then I think I said like, oh yeah, me and John like we're gonna watch this movie and then two will become one or something.
I was like, those are some really weird turns of phrase, but okay, he's the professional here, not me.
Or like I think I said I've given you everything on a job.
No, I can't. Okay, here's the final takeaway. How do you still know all the lyrics to those terrible, terrible songs? They're awful.
You know what's really funny about my memory? I've been told that I have a really good memory, and I do. I think when stuff is in music form, it really stays with me.
Dude. Yeah, well, I appreciate the experience.
You don't want to come back anymore.
I'll do it if we watch a real movie.
This is a real movie, John. This movie got a 35 on Rotten Tomatoes, and it's a legit movie.
Okay, what's the rating scale? 35 out of like 3 billion?
Out of 100.
No, no.
Real quick, Brenda, what was your? You remember watching this movie when we were kids?
I remember being forced to take you to watch it, and I definitely remember thinking this cannot be a real movie. Any minute now the cameras are going to pop out and be like, so these are the suckers that actually came here opening night.
And there
But
was like what 20 people in the movie theater.
I don't think that many. I think there was 5 people. We were 3 of 5.
So I don't know if you heard. I was telling him. Remember the two? There was 2 guys behind us, and Josh, who went with us, he said like that the 2 guys were like, "What are we doing here?" And then he turns around and he's like, "Yeah, I'm asking myself the same question."
Yeah, it was pretty horrific. But I was trying to put on a brave face because you were just obsessed
I
with
was
the
11
Spice
when
Girls.
this- yeah.
Obsessed.
Which I feel like it was a little.
to a level that made me question if you were okay. And now we know you were not.
Well, I did go see, and this is around the time that we were really into Puff Daddy, so maybe not okay. Maybe
Yeah, that should have. Looking back,
we saw this, and then we went to go to a P Diddy concert or Puff Daddy.
The
I think so.
signs were there.
they were there the whole time.
And
We
I
were
was,
wearing white.
Then I was off my rocker.
Yeah,
I was had
yeah.
a couple screws loose up in there.
But then you watched it again and then you owned it.
Yeah, I did,
And you own it now.
I own it now again, and I still have their albums.
And you wear that crown proudly, huh?
Yeah, dude.
The other reason why I didn't fight taking you to it is because I did really love Posh Spice, and I still do. Victoria Beckham, if you're listening,
John,
you are amazing.
John,
And
that's your wife.
tell your husband I said hi.
A shout out to David Beckham.
Yeah, whatever his name is. Yeah, that guy.
And the mailman's here. That's why. And I think
that's our cue.
Thank you, Brent. And I think that the dog really likes Posh Spice. So, John, real quick, two last questions.
Mm-hmm.
What would be your Spice Girl name? What would be your Spice? Silver Spice? Texas Spice?
I would probably be what's a spice that's spicy and you want more of? Definitely not cumin spice. No one likes that.
Cayenne Spice?
Let's go with a mixture between a little turmeric, a little sumac. Oh, I'd be sumac spice.
Sumac Spice.
Yeah, I like that.
Brenda, what would be yours? Your spice?
Tajin.
Tajin.
Tajin Spice. Mine would be I don't know, Awesome Spice. Chef Spice? No.
Old guy spice.
It's like personality wise, so like Nerd Spice.
Bad knee spice.
Bad knee spice. Yeah. Arthritis spice. Diabetes. I don't have diabetes, but pre-diabetes. No, I don't even have that.
TBD.
I would, yeah, TBDBs.
I think you've been paying off your doctor. Side note.
Yeah. My doctor is very wealthy because I tell him, hey, fudge the records. Can you name all the Spice Girls?
Ooh, okay, let's see. I was tortured for an hour and a half, so let me see. There is no talent spice.
Okay, first of all, how dare you?
There's couldn't sing a lick spice.
That's not one. That's a fail.
There is what is acting spice?
Yeah. That's wrong.
There's the I'm just on TV spice or music personality because they needed a different ethnicity spice.
Wow.
And
Diversify spice.
Last spice was just girl power spice.
Girl power
there's
spice.
Girl power spice.
There was girl power spice.
No, for real, I think there was baby spice. There was scary spice, posh spice, ginger spice, and I'm missing one. Sporty spice.
There you go, Johnny. Sporty Spice. She's from Liverpool, mates. Those accents her accent is thick. And also Scary Spice's accent is really thick. She's like, all right, mate, when I said ga, you ga. All right, Johnny. Give it how many movie boardings out of 5 do you give it?
So
As far as like 5 would be like you got movie boarded big time, and 0 was like, oh, it was a good experience. the Supreme Court is going to have to look into it as
Oh, this is
this goes against the Geneva Convention.
100. So I think I'm the only victim so far that's actually been movie boarded. Like everyone else has been like, oh, that was
There's been
interesting
people that
experience.
didn't like the movies, but I wasn't trying to
Yeah.
movie board them. But
Oh,
you're the
yeah.
only one.
Yeah, I got it.
You've been movie boarded. Fwan, 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 fwan. Applause, everybody. Applause. All right, John. Thank you so much. And we'll do it next time. I promise I'll do a
You gotta find like a next like Oscar winning film that.
next time.
It's
I
gonna come
promise.
out.
I promise I'll get a good movie for you, John.
Yeah, right.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, fun. It was fun, fam.